Hello everybody, Jeff Hoverson here from District 3 in Minot. I'm filling in for Gary Emeneth. It's an honor to be at the golden microphone of North Dakota. And anyhow, I want to ask a question. Why do conservatives believe in being conservative? Why does it matter? Why is there tension and even you could say a fight and a battle in North Dakota over who's the most conservative? And I want to just suggest one thing. As I've thought about this, is because people that actually believe in the conservative platform, which happens to be our Republican platform, individual liberty, personal responsibility, lower taxes, traditional family values, stuff like that. We believe that's best for North Dakota, that's best for our culture, that's best for our politics, that it actually produces the most freedom, the most prosperity, just like our founding fathers believed. That's why it's important. And with me today, I am very privileged and honored to have on our show three gentlemen who are running in District 13 in Fargo. And they're here with us today. They're challengers and they would self-identify as conservatives. And I'm really happy that they're on our show, but I'm even more happy that they're running because, as you all know, Fargo needs more conservatives in our legislature. And so without any further ado, these guys bring a lot of energy and already I'm pumped up. Hey guys, welcome to Gary Emeneth's show. We've got Russell, and we've got Dr. Phil, and we've got Everett, and they can share their names. But why don't you guys, let's just start out with you just sharing your personal bio. Who are you?
Sure. I'll go first.
Okay.
First of all, District 13 in West Fargo.
Oh, West Fargo.
Yeah,
Okay.
not Fargo.
Good catch. Good catch.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I'm a lifetime North Dakotan, born and raised southwest of the Devil's Lake area, actually, in a couple towns called Cheyenne and Maddock, if you've ever heard of them.
I sure have. Yeah.
Graduated from Maddock High School.
Okay.
Attended Jamestown College after graduating from high school.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated from high school in '78.
Okay. I went to Valley City. We would have.
Oh no! Oh no! You're one of them. So when were you there then?
81.
81.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
So yeah.
And I would have. I knew Tweetons. Dwayne Tweeton.
Oh, Dwayne Tweeton.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. He went to Valley City as well.
Okay.
Remember that name. Anyway.
Yeah.
Good to have you.
Yeah. So anyway, I met my wife at Jamestown College, now University of Jamestown, and moved to West Fargo in 1991. And I had 3 children, raised our 3 children there, and now we have 5 grandchildren. For my career, I worked at the United States Department of Agriculture.
Okay.
And worked there for over 36 and a half years. Okay. Retired from there in 2019. And I first got in politics a couple years ago, actually 2024, so I haven't been in it very long. Okay. I was a couple of individuals who are conservative tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, it's time for you to get involved." And I said, "How do I do that? What do you mean?" And I didn't know anything about the Republican Party, how it was structured or anything. And they said, "You need to call up your district chair and tell him you want to be a delegate to the state convention in 2024." So I did that. I had a nice conversation, and I was put on the list to be a delegate to the convention in 2024. Right. Went to the convention, really did not know a soul from District 13.
That was in Fargo?
That was in Fargo. That was right in our backyard.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anybody in my district. Interestingly, I sat next to Judy Lee the first day, and more about that later probably. Yeah. But through that process, I met Everett Duckworth, and he introduced me. He invited me to a conservative group meeting. And so I went to the conservative group meeting and got involved and active with them. And by the end of the year, they asked me to run for district chair, which I did and was elected.
And now you're the chair.
And now I'm the chair, and now I'm running for House.
Awesome.
So that's my background.
I'm really glad. Looking forward to seeing you in the legislature.
Hopefully I am too.
Mr. Phil, Dr. Phil.
I grew up in Moorhead. I graduated from high school in Moorhead. After that, I was in the U.S. Air Force. I was stationed overseas in Korat, Thailand during the Vietnam era.
Oh, wow.
And then I came back stateside. I was stationed at Mountain Home, Idaho. And then I started to attend Boise State College. That's where I started. And when I was discharged from the military, I came back to Moorhead and I did most of my undergraduate at Moorhead State. It was just a fluke how I ended up in dentistry. I was going after a PhD in microbiology. That was my goal.
Okay.
And I'd even applied for upper division, but I happened to see something on television that I've never seen before or since. It was a CE course for dentists on Channel 13 when they only
Really?
were 4
Okay.
channels. And they had it was a CE course for dentists, and I watched that and thinking, wow, there's 2 things I'm good at. I'm good at science, I'm good at art. And so I applied and took the dental aptitude test cold. I had no idea. But I was accepted, and the rest is history. My wife taught school for 32 years.
Okay.
We lived in small communities. I practiced dentistry, still practicing, 50 years of getting down in the mouth.
Wow.
I was in private practice for 43 years, and then I thought I was retired, and I was recruited to work in a community clinic. It started down in Rochester, Minnesota, and they have a series of clinics, and now I work in a clinic in Moorhead, a community, just part-time.
Okay.
I work 2 days a week now at a community clinic, and I've seen things that are really quite eye-opening.
Really? That'd be interesting.
So the way I got involved, the state convention was in Fargo 2 years ago, and I wanted to go to the state convention, and I didn't know what I needed to do. I contacted my chair, at least I left messages, I never heard back, and I found out too late that I couldn't attend because I hadn't paid dues within a 10-day period of
10
time.
days,
So
yeah.
I essentially was disenfranchised, but I went there anyway, and in a very
You went to the convention?
I left, but I paid dues and I left.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't participate. But so I asked the chair, I said, if you'd called me back, I would have known, I would have paid dues.
Right.
He said, we should have read the bylaws.
That type of story has been going on. I hear about that in a lot.
Apparently it has,
districts,
because
yeah.
I was very upset about it.
Yeah.
And I started to speak my mind.
Yeah.
And other people had similar experience. And so there were enough of us that were upset that we decided to field our own candidates for the chair, for leadership in that district. I think it needs to be open to people. You need to expand the Republican Party, and we prevailed. But since that time, we haven't heard anything from our legislators. We've been kind of shunned, I believe, but they don't really know anything about us. But what really opened my eyes, and I wasn't going any further than that, but I went to a meeting, I was invited to a meeting with Susie Oliver, and they were going over the Leginate, and I was shocked to see how the people that I voted for that had an R behind their name, how they vote.
Yeah.
And that's not me. They
And we're
don't
going to
represent.
show Leginate in a little
Oh,
bit
good.
too. Yeah.
Good.
We're going to show and we're going to show who the incumbents are that you're challenging.
Yes,
actually.
exactly. And they can't run on their
Yeah,
record.
that's good. It's great to have you, Dr. Phil.
Thank you. Glad to
Everett,
be here.
who are you?
Yeah, I'm Everett Duckworth. I'm the dark sheep of the group here, unfortunately. I'm the implant from Southern California.
Okay.
And I couldn't stand the politics in California anymore. When it was time to retire, I was 40-year as a civil engineer in Southern California. Retired here because my son lived here.
Okay.
And when I just naturally got involved with politics, there was the Fargo Grassroots and the Sons of Liberty groups, and I just slowly but surely became more involved and got involved with the district. It was just 1 or 2 of us starting out with the district, having no idea that we'd really accomplish anything because we were so few. And then all of a sudden, we had enough people to bring in new leadership.
Yeah.
To the district.
Boy, and that's how it's done. That's really, and that's the pathway. You got to go to the district. You got to have the votes, which you did, and now you're running.
That was the next thing, is once we brought in the new leadership for the district, we thought, oh, what do we do now? I guess we've got to bring in some candidates.
Did you know that your challengers also were, I guess we're calling light blue Republicans?
Yes, because of the organizations I was with, we could see that
it.
our district was an important district to try and put some effort into changing leadership.
That was part of what got me involved when my 2 buddies tapped me on the shoulder to get involved. They asked me, do you know what you got going on in your district? And I really didn't. And they politely told me that we had some light blues as our legislature.
We're the proverbial dog that caught the car. But now, what do? We're new to this. We're running the campaign by ourselves. We're proceeding down this path, and we're going to follow it to the end. And we're definitely committed. We're not career politicians. We're your neighbor.
Yeah, yeah. And I can tell. And I tell you what, when these guys came into Beck TV, they came walking in, and it was just instant energy right away. And you guys are excited to run. you're running on a platform that actually is meaningful. Like I opened up with, being a conservative matters. Both sides want that title, conservative. And we're going to show in the next segment a little bit about, people might wonder, what do you mean by light blue Republican? We're going to show that in the next segment because we're about out of time. And just so I get your names right, Russell, Phil, and Everett. We'll see you on the other side.
Did you know that the U.S. life expectancy peaked at 78 years in 2014? And global life expectancy is declining for the first time in 30 years because people are aging faster than ever before. This is due to more toxins in the air, chemicals in our soil and food, and a variety of other external factors that are new to us. What most people don't know is that we can actually fight aging on a cellular level. Scientists discovered that kimchi actually slows the aging process of human cells, helping protect them and delay aging at the cellular level. The power of nature can outweigh the power of pharmaceuticals without the nasty side effects. And now you can get all the benefits of kimchi in a simple capsule with Kimchi One. Each capsule delivers over 900 probiotic strains, plus antioxidants and enzymes that support your digestion, metabolism, and skin health from the inside out. As we age, we become more susceptible to microbial threats. Kimchi is a natural antimicrobial, helping your body fight off these harmful bacteria, viruses, and even toxins, while boosting your immunity and energy. Best of all, Kimchi One is 100% made in the U.S., all natural, non-GMO. So it can support your gut, protect your cells, and help you feel younger every day. So you need some Kimchi One from Brightcore. Today, you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link below and just code OpenRange and get 25% off your entire order. Or even better yet, you can call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and get free shipping. Give them a call right now at 888-341-4470. That's 888-341-4470.
Jeff Hoverson here from District 13, again with the challengers in District 13. We've been getting to know them. And just before we talk about what are the issues they're running on together, why are they running as a group, I've got a little teaser. So Luke, if you could put up, we've been talking about light blue Republican and red Republican. There it is right there. Now you can see, can you guys see where I am at right there? Here's my teaser for you. The red side, of course, is those are who we would consider conservative. And how do we define conservative? By the Republican platform. So these guys are here today because they identify themselves with the red Republicans, which is where really every Republican should be, right? And then you see the light blue. The light blue there, we're outnumbered. And so the light blue, they vote, their voting record is actually closer to the Democrats. The Democrats are the dark blue off to the left. And that really matters. Now, my challenge for you guys is, first of all, to win. I think that'll be an exciting day. I don't know if I'm going to be more interested in watching the primary of our campaign in District 3 or your campaign in District 13. It's been very exciting to hear. But my challenge to you is, if you notice on that legislate, I was last session 7th from the right. Okay, I was the 7th slot from the right. Us legislators in that group, we like to tease each other and have some fun trying to beat each other. Who can be furthest to the right? And so you'll see in there that Dennis Nearian and I were really close. I think he ended up winning in the end by the end of the session. But that's my challenge for you. When you get to Bismarck, to see if you can get further over than me on that one. That's my challenge for you, okay? So, with all of that said, tell me about, just as a group, what caused you guys to run together, and what do you want people to know about you three as a group?
I think to start with, you should know that all three of us are conservative.
Yeah.
And we're also the endorsed candidates of the Republican Party.
That's a good point. And
Yes.
tell me about that too.
The endorsement part was, of course, our current legislators have decided not to seek the endorsement.
Yeah.
They've turned their back on the endorsement process. And so we value that
Right.
title. We
Well, that's
value
where you
that
have the
process.
most committed, active Republicans are there to
That's
speak.
That's where the vetting process is
Right.
done on the candidates. It's not for someone who can collect 300 signatures and check a box on the Secretary of State's form. That's where the vetting process is done, and that's where we think it should be done. So we are the endorsed candidates, and we're the conservative candidates. We're the conservative choice.
I would say one thing in regard to that's one of the few places that constituents have a chance to voice an opinion and have some input. And what these people that represent us need to know is that we're their constituents, not their subjects.
And so they're basically like ignoring them.
Correct.
Yeah.
For sure, for
Correct.
sure.
Absolutely they are. And if you look at who they are,
And
they
they're the-
seem to be on that particular side, a
Yeah.
little less red
Right.
side.
So they're just out to win.
Yes.
They're out to win with money and advertising.
It leads to elitism
Yeah.
and money. You're right. And money.
Yeah, and that's what they have.
Yeah, we're on a shoestring, but we're doing what we can.
So you're tagging along this too, huh? Everett?
Yes, like I said, I was a part of the very beginning when it was just one or two of us. And this election cycle where we started looking at candidates and endorsements, we didn't know if we were going to have a large amount of people that came from the other side. Some of them belong to the school, and the school has a lot of support on that end. So we just tried to prepare ourselves for the worst case scenario, basically. So we tried to get as many people as we had, and then when the endorsement came and there's so many notifications that we had to do, the people had to pay so many days ahead of time.
Yeah.
And just trying, like I said, we were just learning this as we go and hoping we get it.
So how many people showed up at your endorsing convention?
We had about 55,
Oh,
and of course we knew ahead of time that those 55 had paid their dues on time so that they could show up to the endorsement, and most of them were the ones that we had recognized.
That's pretty similar to the numbers we had at the reorg meeting a year ago in February when I was elected as chair and these two were elected as officers. We had a similar number there, so it's a pretty good turnout.
I think that's really good, especially for West Fargo, because I think in the past, West Fargo hasn't populated their endorsing convention.
And we'd like to grow the party. We'd
Yeah.
like,
I bet you will, because you guys actually believe in something. You're actually standing on principles. And I think that's what gets people off the couch. Mediocre, light blue just doesn't get somebody off the couch. Oh, I'm a mediocre. Can you come to the meeting? No. But when you actually stand for something. So at the endorsement, I'm just curious, did the people, were they surprised that the incumbents weren't there? Or by then, did everybody know they weren't going to show up? Were there comments made?
We knew they weren't going to show up.
we knew
Yeah.
because they had to announce, and they didn't announce with us. So we didn't know if they'd be there or not, but we're 14 days ahead of time because that's in the bylaws that they wrote, or they may not have written it, but they approved it, I should say. We'd like to change those bylaws and make it more friendly to our constituents.
Yeah.
And it takes a 2/3 majority. We can only do that, at least maybe I'm wrong, but my understanding is we must do it with our legislative leaders with us, not just the four of us that form, it's an executive committee of 7. And when 3 don't show up, it's hard to change the bylaws. And I don't like those bylaws because it's more like a machine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many of the 55 that came knew that they weren't going to be there. I don't know that, but I know we each got up and we gave some endorsement speeches, and I would just say very well received, and we're all by votes for it. It was unanimous.
It was a unanimous voice vote. Wow.
We tried to get as much excitement going on at the convention and get people riled up so that we had a few donations that were very appreciated. Plus we had signs, luckily, for the yard signs available so that people could get involved with that too.
Okay. Did you have other people come in then that weren't a part of that were just interested in watching? Or-
We had Lori Hintz
Oh,
show
good.
up, believe it or not.
Awesome.
That was a wonderful surprise.
That would
Yeah,
be.
everyone seemed excited when they left,
Yeah.
and People were taking sides.
Well, that's good.
but-
You got energy then, and that really is going to make a difference in
We do have
people
a lot.
showing up to the primary.
Yeah, and
one
we
thing-
have volunteers. That was one of our
Oh,
big
we've got
things.
some great volunteers.
And so even some other new members of the House have volunteered to
Okay.
help us.
One thing I should mention, for the last 19 years, I've been involved in the hospitality business, so I have some business, and of course dentistry. I was in private practice for many years, and we had multiple practices before I was done. But, so I have some business acumen, and when the three of us together, we bring a lot to the table.
Yeah.
Everett, an engineer, and we've got, especially with water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
water and flood control.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
That kind of fits in a little bit, and of course Russ in the agricultural end.
yeah.
and So
Yeah, that's, oh
I
man,
think
what
we bring something to the
what
table.
a team. Let's take a look at who they're going against. Luke, if you want to show us, so either Judy Lee, so do I got this right? Austin Shower, Jim Jordan,
Correct.
Judy Lee.
Jim
Jones.
Jonas.
Jim Jonas.
Jones.
Yeah,
Jim Jonas.
Yeah, Jonas. I'm sorry, Jonas. Yeah, I should know better. Okay, so there
That's
we
the
have,
house.
there's Jim
That's the
Jonas.
house.
Now, Jim Jonas, I can't read that far, but he's the furthest. Both of these are House members. So that would be Russell and Everett
Correct.
are going for that spot. And you can see that they're well into the light blue anyway. They're not anywhere close to being in the red.
They're left.
Yeah, they're very left. And then moving on to the Senate, we have Judy Lee. And you can see Judy Lee is the furthest. And look at the Senate's actually improved compared to the House. So we're getting more red in the Senate. So Phil, that's a good thing to know. But Judy Lee is still hanging on. When you're that far over, can you even, what does that say to the people? Are you really being honest with the people?
Well,
that
she's
you're
been
really-
there 34 years.
Yeah.
And I don't know that she's ever been challenged, maybe one time.
Probably not. Probably not, yeah. Very interesting. Are you hearing comments? You've already started your campaign,
Yes.
which is wonderful. And we were talking earlier, and it sounds like plenty of doors you're knocking on are leading to some very positive conversations, so much so
Absolutely.
that they have to tell Russ to, come on, we got to get going.
Yeah, we
here,"
got to
but,
drag them away. Yeah.
But you got the palm brochures.
Yes.
Got palm cards.
Palm cards, and
we're
you're out
getting
there.
Lawn
So
signs soon.
are people like, do they get it? Like, they know about you guys being conservative, and do they know what's up with Judy Lee and the others
I don't
as far as
think
how?
most of them.
I'll
So
show.
are you informing them?
Yeah, and that's part of our whole process, and that's one thing we started from the very beginning, that we need to educate. We need to educate the voters in our district of who we are and what we believe in, and who they are and what they stand for. And I'll just share one conversation I had with a gentleman. I went to his door, knocked, and we had a very good conversation. And he said something to the effect, "Yeah, but I support the incumbents, Judy Lee and Jonas and Austin Shower." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Our conversation, I took you to be a pretty conservative individual." And he said, "I am." And I said, "But have you followed how they actually vote then?" "No, they've got an R by their name, and I just assumed that they supported the Republican Party and the Republican platform." And I went into some depth about, no, they vote more with the liberal left than with the conservative.
Okay. And I bet that made a difference.
That did make a difference,
make a
and he was his eyes were opened up, and he was really interested.
Those are important conversations that need to happen at the doorways and at the kitchen tables. And we'll be right back for our next segment 3 with the 3 guys from West Fargo. I'm having a lot of fun with these District 13 challengers. I'm telling you, they're just bringing a lot of conservative values and a lot of energy with it. If you want to support these guys, and please do, just go to voted13wf.com. The WF is for West Fargo. So vote D13, that's District 13, WF.com. There it is on your screen. So vote D13WF.com. There is a donation button on that page. And we all know that the light blue, they have a lot of the money. They're a cash cow, and I've experienced that myself in previous races. So the conservatives usually are the ones that are wearing out their tennis shoes, and they're outworking them, but they're outspending us. Okay, guys, we're going to get more individual now. And what's your heartbeat? What's the issues that you care about? And let's start with you, Everett. What are the issues for you, Everett?
Yeah, thank you. So we've gone door to door a little bit more recently, and we've been talking to the people. It always isn't necessarily Republican versus Democrat. They like to want to support the person and what they stand for. And so recently we've seen people really interested in property taxes and the cost of living, the affordability of living, buying houses, school funding. It doesn't seem like it's an issue in West Fargo because we have good schools. But what we have found recently is that the state of North Dakota spends a lot of money without much return on its grades. And so we're at the bottom of the list when it comes to return on investment for funding.
And education is a third of the state budget.
Exactly. And so when we talk about property taxes, that's a big part of it. And when we talk about income tax too, that's of course another tax. And both of them, luckily, the state legislature and the governor have been proponents to reduce that. So we're really trying to push that farther so that people feel like they're going to get some relief. We had some, like I said, with the governor, which was very helpful. But in West Fargo, our valuations went up so high. So we didn't necessarily really receive a credit for that.
Oof, that.
And I know the affordable living, we've got high costs of houses there too. And so it's been good that the federal government has been taking a lead at looking at removing corporations from being able to buy single family homes for families.
That's a neat
and
idea.
so I would certainly to make sure we're looking into that in Bismarck too. Plus the reduced rates, whatever we can do to help families, which was the taxes and the cost of living.
Boy, I'm really glad to hear that because affordable living, that's a thing. And I'm hearing about that in Minot too quite a bit. And it's been inflated because of the government, really. So the government does have a responsibility.
Absolutely.
I think.
And oh, go ahead.
Nope, that was.
I was just going to say the last thing that also been talking about is secure elections. And I know Russ is going to talk about that a little more, with just within our district and the NDGOP. But it's also what happens at the Cass County level and the state. There's a lot of talk about what's going on with the machines. Luckily, I had the opportunity to be a part of the central voting areas, to be a clerk and to be a partisan judge. I worked with the NDOGP to help organize observers. And there's a lot of issues on every one of those subjects. I hope to see that we do find more transparency. I know right now I'm a part of the Resolutions Commission.
Okay.
And one of the items that we're looking at is more transparency for elections.
We definitely can use that. And I appreciate, what was your background again?
Oh, I'm a civil engineer.
Yeah, so great for water.
Yes.
And water flooding issues, which Fargo's definitely in need of.
Yes, we have been spending a huge amount of money between FEMA and federal government and our local governments too, to get flood control, which is often tied to housing and new development that's going to be occurring between Fargo and Grand Forks. And so I am familiar with that. I work land development. I work for the county of Riverside in California. So I know all the tricks. I know all the situations that occur with that. And also water quality. I know that hasn't really been an issue here yet, but I am familiar with it. And I know that we got a big demand. We're supposedly bringing a pipe in from the west out to us to get water supply.
Be a good asset.
Yeah,
down
thank
there
you.
in Bismarck, that's for sure. Dr. Phil, talk to us. Talk to District 13 right
District 13, what I look at, a lot of the things that are done in the legislature, like schools, a third of the budget, you said. But a lot of the issues that I look at are the 2080 issues that I think in North Dakota might be 90-10 issues. For example, boys and girls sports. I would look at how that's voted for. Segregated bathrooms based on sex, I think that's a no-brainer. Those are things that stand out. Sexually explicit material at schools, like no one was saying getting it out of there. No one was saying remove it. Just don't display it for grade school kids.
And it failed. No, the governor vetoed it, didn't
When
he?
I was in grade school, I didn't need my life any more complicated than it was.
No.
But I think that's inappropriate. And they weren't saying ban it. They just said make it so it's less accessible. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. The other thing is some of the transgender, with parents not being involved. To me, that is absolutely a non-starter. Parents are the ones most concerned about their children. They should have a say in it, and not a school or a teacher I understand they have input, but my wife taught school for 32 years. She taught high school. She had kids in a class for 45 minutes?
Yeah.
And sometimes when she would call parents, they say, I can't do anything. Can you do something with them? I've got them for 45 minutes. You have more than that. You do have way more influence on your children than I do.
Yeah, and to keep that information, if a kid's transitioning and the school knows about it, and to keep that from the parents that's criminal.
It's horrible.
That's criminal.
And some of them really regret making that decision.
You had a good phrase.
And I've seen that.
It's not gender affirming, it's agenda affirming.
Exactly. It is agenda affirming care, yes.
Yeah. Thank you for taking that position. Now, what did you mean by 80-20 or 90-10?
I think nationally, a lot of those issues, like boys and girls sports, nationally, if you look at the polling, it's 80-20. Usually most people say regardless.
Oh, in the polls.
In the polls, yes. That's what I mean by
80% approve.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think
only
in North
20
Dakota, it might even
disapprove.
be a little
You
bit
mean
more.
approve of the
They-
gender affirming care?
The 20%.
Or conservative?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
The
thank goodness for
conservative
that,
view is
yeah.
the most common.
Yeah, because we'd be dead in the water if it was the other way around.
Yes, we would.
Good. Russ,
Yeah.
talk to us.
Sure. I'd like to piggyback on some of what these guys said, but most recently what Phil was talking about, the parental rights. Parents have an absolute right to know what's going on in their kid's life,
Yeah.
and schools should not be withholding that from them. And the sexually explicit materials. And have you looked at some of that material that's in the libraries? It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
And I think the reason for voting against that was given it's going to cost over $1 million. It's going to throw librarians in jail. And I've talked to legislators and I've talked to librarians, and that's absolutely not the case. I don't know if for some reason our legislators were looking, because all three of them voted
The wrong way.
the wrong way
Yeah.
on that topic. So
Yeah. I was on the Judiciary Committee when one of the bills came in, and somebody from a school in North Dakota actually brought some of the material and handed it out to us.
Oh, yeah.
And we had librarian after librarian coming and opposing this bill, of course. I think the Librarian Association must be one of the most liberal in the state. But I showed a couple pages to one of the presenters there, and she's like, yeah, what's the problem with that? And I can't even describe on this show what it was, but you can about imagine.
Yeah.
oh, I've seen
Pretty
them.
explicit.
Yeah.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
So
Now, my wife is also a librarian. She had
Oh, okay.
several majors, several areas that she's licensed to teach in. That is one of them. And I asked her about the 1.1 million. She said that makes no sense.
Yeah, no, and that's what they do. That's how they scare the legislators. It's either it's too complicated or it's too much money. You'll hear that a lot too. But
And that's just really what Russ is about, is making sure the platform is being introduced. We have the morals, we have taxes, and he's going to be following all that.
and you're familiar with 1446.
Well,
Tell me
yeah, I
about
was going
that.
to talk about 1446, and that's the bill, the House bill that was going to take away the political endorsement process. And of course, that I mentioned briefly, that would take away the process of vetting for the Republican Party. And again, you just get 300 signatures and check a box. Anybody with any type of ideology, any Bernie Sanders of the world could be
Gets 300 signatures.
get 300 signatures and check a box on the Secretary of State form that they're a Republican and they want it and they can run as a Republican. And House Bill 1446, that was in Austin Shower's committee, and he supported that bill. And he encouraged passage of that bill, and luckily it didn't pass. But it's
But they're going to try again, I think.
Yes, and if he gets back in, and if Judy Lee and Jim Jonas get back in, they'll try again. And then what do we have left?
Yeah.
I'm pretty passionate about that. And educating and informing the district and growing the district in our conservative values.
That's got to be good news for you guys in District 13 to know you have guys like this. We're going to have one more segment right after this. I can't believe we're already at segment 4. Our final segment, talking to these guys from District 13 who are challenging the incumbents. We've got Russ and Dr. Phil and Everett with us. And just so you know that their website is voted13wf.com. That'll come up on the screen. There they are. There they are. That's the 3. Voted13wf.com. Please help them out. They need donations. It's just a reality that the light blue Republicans have a lot of money to the tune of hundreds of thousands. But not only that, but they want to hear from you as well. If you go to that website and get their phone numbers, they really genuinely want to hear from you. They're out knocking on doors. They're wearing out their tennis shoes, and they're having a good time doing it. These guys truly are your conservative option. And just to prove it, let's throw up Leginate one more time to show their opponents. There's Jim Jonas, who is quite a ways into the light blue. And then we've got Austin Schauer, who is also not quite as far, but plenty in the blue, nowhere near the red. You're really not even a red. You can't use the title conservative until you're in the red, especially in the House. In fact, you have to be a ways in the red. But now look at the Senate. Dr. Phil is going up against Judy Lee, and some of you may not realize how far left she has been for many years. She right now is the furthest left Republican in the Senate. And you can see by the red that the Senate is doing better than the House overall these days. So you guys are the conservative choice. There's a grassroots process, Everett. Tell me about that. What do you mean when you say grassroots?
I think this started in about 2020 with the pandemic. And there are a lot of people that weren't very happy with how the state was handling some of the situation. And so the grassroots people got up together and went to some rallies and just started to organize a little bit at a time. And so it turned out that a lot of us were just recently retired. We're churchgoers. We have no agenda really other than to make the state better for our grandchildren and children. And it's really, a lot of it is a spiritual battle that we see nationwide or internationally. And we just are happy to be a part of it, but we're at the end of our careers. There's nothing that we're trying to take out of this process other than to give.
Yeah, that's great. You are all retired.
Yeah.
Except Dr. Phil's still working. Huh?
Yeah.
You'll work until you die.
I've given 4 one-year notices, but I'll be done.
Yeah. Yeah. You have an interesting background too, Russ, in ag. That's going to bring a lot. We're ag state, and how
Yes,
nice. What a
absolutely.
benefit to have somebody who's got that too.
But North Dakota has so many advantages with the natural wealth it has, and it's got a tremendous future. We need to manage that for our children's children. I have 8 grandchildren. 7 of them live either in Fargo or West Fargo.
Yeah. I can tell you guys love North Dakota, and I do too. And I just think there's so much potential here. Everett, you brought up the church, and it'd be fun to talk sometime about that with you guys too, because I think North Dakota still has in its DNA, it's got the natural wealth. We've got the DNA of the church, and the intergenerational stuff still intact, even though sometimes even that's kind of coming apart at the seams in some ways as well. In fact, I would say that a lot of the church has fed some of the problems as well, in my opinion. I'm a pastor, and came from the ELCA and then switched to a more conservative denomination myself. And I've seen where liberalism has even affected the church too, or wokeism. And you guys brought it up, a good point. One of you mentioned that during the pandemic, I think a lot of North Dakota started to get, I hate to say woke, but we've gotten awakened. In fact, I know for a fact that year I carried the mask bill that stopped the governor from being able to mandate masks. And when I did that, I found out that year there were 11 freedom groups that started in North Dakota as a direct result of how the North Dakota Health Department, the governor, and all that from Fauci, CDC on down the line, how they were handling this pandemic in terms of individual liberty, personal responsibility, and stuff like that.
And you were not allowed to challenge any of their dictates.
No.
And what was the science behind the masks? And what was the science behind the 6 feet apart?
Yeah,
There was no
none.
science behind
There
that.
wasn't anything. And I always promoted individual liberty, not so, well, it is for the right of the individual, but individual liberty is also a philosophy. It's a process that actually works better. When you have individuals interacting with their doctors in the medical field and with each other, you should have differences coming out like 6 feet. Maybe in Williston, they're trying 3 feet. Maybe in West Fargo, they're trying 5 feet, and all this different stuff. And out of that individual liberty comes the best product. And so you wind up with, we would have fared much better with individual liberty undergirding, but it ended up being such a top-down, a soft tyranny. Thou shalt do this. Even the governor at that time, Burgum, had billboards up promoting and pushing masks and vaccines.
And that
all this
was
kind
the
of
real impetus for the grassroots people.
It was.
Because in Fargo, we ended up changing leadership in about 3 or 4 to 7 districts.
Tell me about
at that time.
Yeah, because that was, I remember hearing about that and we thought, really, Fargo? Because we always thought,
how
let's
could
just give
Fargo-
Fargo to Minnesota.
Exactly.
But there's hope yet. Tell me about that.
Just that it turns out that probably Fargo, with its large amount of people and voters, is going to be the way the state would also follow. So the energy really needs to be in the Fargo area to make sure that the rest of the state is equal as far as voting goes. And then when the districts started to change, that gave us the impetus. You could never change District 13. That's been that way forever.
Wow.
But it gives us the energy and the spirit to do it. And then when the state actually changed, what was that, in 2021, I think, or 2023, with the state board changed chairs from the previous leadership to Sandy Sanford.
Yep.
And that was just by one chair. Again, here we had it again just recently in
With Matt
2025,
Simon.
just one chair
Yep.
for Matt Simon.
What do you want District 13 to know? Each of you give 1 minute on that. What, Russ?
Sure. The first thing I would want District 13 to know is that we are the conservative option.
Yeah.
Too long, our current legislators have gone unopposed, whether it's the endorsement convention or the primary, or sometimes even in the general election. They have been running unopposed, just on cruise control, and we don't think they've been representing the conservative values of the district when they're in Bismarck and the state legislation. And so we want to give them another option and let them know that we are the conservative option. We will represent their values in Bismarck.
That's good news to the modern man.
What's really important for them to know too is that we absolutely need their vote in the primary, June 9th.
June
That's
9th,
That's
yes.
we win or go home.
Yep.
That's where the rubber
That's
meets
right.
the road.
That's where the
there.
big battle's going to be, everybody. I'm glad you brought that up. June 9th, the primary. Get your friends out to vote for these.
And if people want to help with us, we're open. You want to talk to us, we're open. We're there. If we are elected, we're there to serve you.
And you probably could use more on your campaign team, too.
Wouldn't hurt.
Always can use more door knockers,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Everett, do you want to say anything?
Just again, it was one vote that made the difference statewide
Yeah.
at the state convention. And again, it's the same in the district. We need every single vote.
Yeah. I personally know, as an incumbent last election, I won by 1 vote.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So folks, every vote really does matter. Trust me. I want to put how to get a hold of you guys up one more time. How we doing on time, Luke? Okay, so we got vote D13, WF.com. You can believe these guys when they say they're conservative, and you can believe them when they want to hear from you. I have a hunch that if you went to this website, vote D13WF.com, that you would find their phone number and you could call any one of them, and they would definitely love to hear from you. Whether it be, maybe you have something you're concerned about them. It doesn't have to be positive, ooh la la. They're stepping into politics. They're grown men. They understand that they're stepping into an arena that can be difficult at times and can be very challenging. So if they come to your door and you have a challenging question, go for it, because we all need to get conditioned to what it's like in politics, and that's not always in an echo chamber with people that agree with us all the time. But maybe you've heard something today that you, for sure, if you heard from them something you like, let them know, because they do need support. We all need that. But if you heard something you're concerned about or is causing you to think of more questions, get a hold of them. So I think we're running near the end. Let's throw up the website one last time, the Leginate one more time. There's who they're going against, folks. The light blue Republicans, that's Jim Jonas and Austin Schauer in the House. That would be who Russ and Everett are going for. And then you've got Judy Lee, and everybody's been talking about Judy Lee for a long time. So Dr. Phil, you're going to be watched a lot by a lot of people, I can guarantee you. So thank you guys for coming. And I know you're men of faith, you're men of conservative values, and all that counts. And when it comes down to it, June 9th, everybody,
Yes.
primaries. These are your 3 in District 13 right here. Your conservative vote on June 9th. Thank you for being with us. God bless you, and God bless West Fargo.